Hello, Laura Valenti at Elemental Soul Medicine. I want to make a quick video today to talk about the importance of pausing, slowing down, find the time during the day to actually do nothing and orienting. I've been talking about this with many people in the last few days because of personal experience. I have been actually going through quite some extreme tiredness in the last few days. The season is changing. Suddenly here in the Northern Hemisphere, spring is coming, and I felt as if part of me was still lethargic and wanting to sleep and hide in the cave. Perhaps there was some accumulated tiredness because of the winter and because of work and tasks and life. And so I started to embrace in the last few days a practice that actually one of my clients described yesterday as totally radical, which is about stopping in the middle of the day, whatever I'm doing, put an alarm, and for 30 minutes do nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean no music, no podcast, no writing, no journal, no book. And this is not a proper meditation either, because I do it with my eyes open. And there are a few reasons for doing it in this way. So first of all, for those of us who are always on the go, 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 busy, 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 there is quite a big challenge. It can nearly feel threatening to some parts of us to actually stop. Because if we carry that habit, that pattern since a long time, since we were little, also for actually survival reasons, some parts of us may want to protect us and prevent us from feeling something else that may be at the bottom of that busyness. So, for the system, this can cause a sort of resistance and nervousness. And certainly I experienced that myself when one of my mentors offered this to me and asked, why don't you do it? Why don't you try? And, at the beginning, I went in a complete rebellion. I felt a lot of irritation inside me when she said that. And I started to think like, no way, I'll need to, tie myself to the chair or chain myself to the chair. And actually, you know what? I started doing it and it's quite wonderful and powerful. So taking pauses during the day, it is very important for the nervous system to actually regenerate, restore, and rejuvenate. Because most of us are used to pause while we're doing other things. So, okay, I pause, but I put a podcast. I pause, I lay down, and then I watch a TV show, or I call somebody. So those moments, yes, they are a pause, but they're not a true deep opportunity for the body to really rest and digest and take this pause. They can be more similar in certain occasions. Certainly, that is my experience. They can be more similar actually to a collapse. It's like I go, 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 go during the day. Then it feels as if I can't go any longer. And then, bam, I go flat and horizontal on the sofa and put a TV show. That is not a full rest for the body. And so there is something very intentional also in our culture that actually teaches us to be always goal-oriented, action-oriented. We always need to be doing something to feel good or good enough about ourselves. There is also something cultural and systemic about this. So, there is a power in taking these poses with intention. And there is an additional layer I want to add. There is the power actually of orienting, because as I suggested, this can be done. It's suggested to be done actually with eyes open. So you can do it by sitting, or you could also lay down. And if half an hour is too much, you could start just with 10 minutes, a couple of times per day. And then with your eyes open, slowly you can move your head, and your neck. This is a part of the body where we hold, most of us, a lot of tension. And then have a look around, just gently, slowly. No, not big goal there, no outcome, no expectations. And just have a look around and take the environment in and observe. And you can take pauses while you watch, or you rest your eyes on something, depending on where you are. You could be indoors, or if you could do it outdoors nowadays, in spring, even better. You could also take the sounds in and look at the empty spaces between an object and another one. So right now, for example, I'm aware of the song of the birds. And so there is another important layer and another important reason for doing this practice and this little exercise of orienting ourselves in relationship to space and our environment, because when we suffer from a lot of stress, or when we have some trauma that is still not fully integrated, digested, or discharged, and when we actually had that situation in our life, that series of situations in our life that were traumatizing, or that created that stressed physiology in our body, when that happens, we disconnect not only from our body, but also from our environment. So when there is trauma, I repeat that was a long sentence, also with my, English. When there is trauma in the body, in the physiology of the body, and when there is stress held in the physiology of the body, we tend to disconnect actually not only from the body in terms of fully inhabiting our body, fully inhabiting our sensations, being completely at home in this container, but we also disconnect from the environment. And so this practice is a way to reconnect to the environment. And it is very powerful when we have a lot of, as I mentioned before, like in my case, a lot of tiredness, a lot of fatigue. Perhaps some of you may be overwhelmed with a lot of to-do list, and with that lack of capacity of going inward, because some people may need to build this capacity to be in the body, to be with the intensity, to be with the ebbs and flows of life, because there is a misconception about what healing also the nervous system, is. And, there is a misconception about all this goodness in our life has to be always about relaxation. But actually, the more we tune in with ourselves, the more the tensions open up, the more expansion there is, the more feeling there is also in the body, or parts of the body that previously perhaps were a little bit tense or closed or contracted, the more we feel. And sometimes, because of that, we also feel things that are not necessarily comfortable. Therefore, if there is too much going on in our lives, this practice of orienting in relationship to the environment takes a little bit that pressure off. It's about taking a smaller step, is about turning down the level of intensity, is about pausing. And the poses are also important, because we are so used to be in a rush that we don't pay attention to details, to nuances, and to changes in our states, inner states or outer states, in relationship to the environment. So to pause, it's very important to slow down and be in contact with our experience, with the environment, and that offers also the physiology of the body an opportunity to organically discharge and not to be overloaded constantly with information, with stimuli, whether that is from the screen, or from music or reading. So this is an opportunity to restore in a deeper way so that we can then develop that stronger capacity to be also with the intensity. It's a sort of paradox. It's like two things are happening simultaneously here. So I hope it makes sense. I really invite you to slow down, pause, take this opportunity to do nothing, at least for 10 minutes, and see what happens.